Hello, upper cervical doctors and students. Welcome back to the UCM podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bill Davis, founder and CEO of UCM Practice Growth Systems. And I am so excited about our guest joining us today, Dr. Gregory Jean-Pierre from Boca Raton, Florida. Super excited to have you on the podcast, Doc. Welcome.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. And it's a tremendous pleasure. And again, being in this journey, I've listened to every single one of your podcasts. So believe me when I say it's an honor and a privilege to be here today.
It's super exciting. So I love that, man. I love that you've been, so engaged with the podcast over the years. And now we get to have you on the podcast. This is fun. So anybody out there that doesn't know you, Doc, please share a little bit about yourself, share a little bit about your journey into chiropractic practice and into upper cervical specifically.
Oh, I don't know if I can do this in 30 minutes, but I will try. So here we go. Again, born in Haiti, grew up in Haiti, and I moved here and when I was 12, went to high school here in South Florida, graduated from Barry University here with a degree in sports medicine and athletic training. And while I was on the sideline, just kind of witnessing what was going on, I decided I wanted to do something different. So talking to the chiropractor there, PI guy, and I decided to go to chiropractic school at Logan, being from Florida, going to Logan. I was at the time where life was going through their accreditation issues. So I ended up at Logan, and it was a great fit because my goal was to be a sports chiropractor. So being at Logan was awesome until I met the delts. And that completely changed everything for me because most of those guys are upper cervical, and starting to learn about upper cervical, and had a tremendous experience with Dr. Matt Flory, who started adjusting me on NUCA. And little did I know, and I mean, I've told this story many times, but I've had migraine up until then for 20 years. And his help and adjusting me within about 3.5 months or so, I started feeling better. So not only I was inundated with all the information coming from the delts, my personal experience with Dr. Flory, giving me literally my life back, kind of changed my mindset about doing sports chiropractic and doing upper cervical, specifically NUCA, and having the guidance of his brother, Dr. Tim Flory, which really I can say is the reason why I even do this, guided me into learning about NUCA and upper cervical. So this is why I'm here now. So this is kind of from the beginning to where I am now. Yes.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I mean, it's amazing when you have that, kind of a theoretical experience, but then you have a personal experience. You put those two things together and it's like, oh, wow, this is what I'm called to do. Right.
Absolutely. Every single day I am blessed because, again, majority of my patient that comes in here, they have their own experience and their own journey. Being able to kind of share that with them because I was once there is tremendous, because it's not just them telling me what's going on. I can feel that because I was there and I understand their frustration, and I'm able to guide them from a personal way more than I would never ever be able to if I didn't go through what I went through.
Exactly. Yeah, you can relate to them in a whole different way than someone who hasn't gone through what you went through. And so okay, so graduated from Logan, and then what was the next step from there? How did you get going in practice?
Well, graduated from Logan, I did my internship with Dr. Packer in Chesapeake. And it was funny because when I was doing the interview, I thought I was talking to Dr. Russell Friedman. But it's a running joke because I thought I wanted to go to Atlanta to end the internship with him. But the entire time I was actually talking to Dr. Packer. It's like, wait. And so great guy. So I ended up over there with him doing my internship and worked with him for a little bit. And then from there, I ended up in New York working with Dr. George Gertner for about 6-7 years. And then I made the leap to come down to South Florida and open my practice here in Boca Raton.
Gotcha. Okay. So got some experience, associate position, preceptorship, all that, kind of understood upper cervical, understood practice, understood a lot of the things. And then you hit the ground running, opening your own practice in South Florida, back to where you're from, right? And what was that first few years of practice like?
Well, it was a humbling experience. And I think the thing that everybody knows that they don't teach you business in school. But also, one of the things when you do preceptorships and when you do associateships, a lot of doctors don't actually teach you the business aspect of it. You don't get to see the background things. You see how the overall practice is running. You get the patient care, but you don't get that business one-on-one. And again, coming from Dr. Gurdon's office, highly successful upper cervical practice, but I didn't get to see the back end of it and everything that he does. I had an understanding of it, but I was never in charge of it. So coming here just right away made several mistakes with signing the lease. All the money I thought I was going to allocate to marketing, I didn't, because I didn't know the X-ray machine required a dedicated power. So that was a $5,000 mistake that I had to get a dedicated power running. So that ate up my marketing budget right away. So the plan that I had, so I really had to slowly grind to get to a level where I was comfortable. Again, I really love doing screenings, so I did a lot of screenings, and that's what kept me going throughout the years, just doing screenings and getting patients in.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're learning some hard knocks lessons there, right? As you get going. And so, I mean, those first few years, like you said, you were doing screenings, you were just doing, what you could to bring patients in. And, what was the practice actually doing in those first few years, those first, 5 to 10 years?
Well, it was up and down. I was making enough to cover everything, but it was never like comfortable. So it was a roller coaster. And I think many people may have experienced that specifically when you're in solo practice. I had some good months, I have some bad months, but overall, it was a struggle. I remember the first couple of years I've had experiences where I was behind in rent for a couple months. And, I had to negotiate with the building to kind of figure out how I was going to pay. So we came up with a payment plan. I even thought about selling the practice and going back to working with other doctors. I had a point where I had a lawyer come in and I was this close to actually just going out of practice. And, at that point, I'm like, whatever it is, it's in God's hand. Let's just keep pushing. But I have this determination that nothing actually rattles me, because I think that nothing happens to me, everything happens for me. So I always take everything as a learning experience. So I just kept going and kept pushing, finding different ways to do that. But it was always a struggle. There was never any consistency. I would get a couple great months, and then not knowing that it was my mindset, that I would kind of, okay, this is working. So I would just kind of stop doing the things that was necessary to keep me there and kind of relax a little bit, and it will go down. And so it was a struggle up and down for the past 10 years. But I was surviving. I was able to provide for my family, but it was never comfortable.
Gotcha. So, I mean, man, there's so much there that's so important, right? It's the tendency to take the foot off the gas, I think is very, very common, especially in those initial years of practice when you get some kind of a success. I remember when I first started in practice, like my third month of practice, or my second month, something like that. I made a profit, right? And I was like so excited. I was like, oh, this is easy. This upper cervical practice, it's easy. Like, look at this, all right off the bat. And then like the next month, the collections is half of what it was, or whatever it was, right? It's like, it's so much of it, like you said, is that mindset, is that focus, is what you need to do, and continuing to do the things that are making you successful, rather than saying, okay, well, we got it now, I can just like stop doing everything I was doing and it's just going to keep going.
And that's exactly right, because again, my bread and butter was screening. So when things were bad, I was scheduling screening left and right. I was doing 4 or 5 screenings a month, and I was going, and then it would pick up, and then all of a sudden I would stop doing screening for a couple months, and then it would go down, and then I'd go back, and it was just that roller coaster, not having the mindset to just, no matter what, good times, just keep your foot on the gas and keep going. And it's something that I had to learn the hard way. But I can say, with you guys and your guidance, things have changed drastically over the years.
Yeah. Well, now we're going to get into that, because that's so important, obviously, is what has happened in the past few years with you personally with the practice and all that. So you came, out of that kind of whatever that's been like a 10-year period or so, right? Of kind of up and down and up and down. And so where was the practice at that point when you first reached out to UCM, when you first started talking to us? Where were you at with the practice, like numbers wise?
I can talk numbers because my goal when I first opened up, when I did all my stuff, I figured if I could get 10 new patients a month, that should be sufficient to get me going. But the problem is I was never actually getting 10 new patients. I got 10 new patients, but getting them to accept care, I could never do that. So some months I would get 10 and some month I would get 2, which is really a struggle getting 2 new patients in an entire month. So coming where I was working with you guys, I think if I'm not mistaken, it's not 100% accurate. I was making just about 90,000 for the year, and that was a good year. So typically, I would probably make about anywhere from 10 to 15 on a good month. So it wasn't consistent. So that was kind of the struggle of trying to figure out how to create the consistency. The thing is, though, working with Dr. Gertner and working with Dr. Packer, I know the things needed to do to get there. Dr. Gertner is one of the pioneer as far as visualization, being able, and the way he does things, like whatever this goal is, he write it right in front of him. He gets to see it. He gets to talk about it every day. Like he has that mindset. So I knew the things that I needed to do, but I wasn't doing them. And for the first couple years, I really didn't have stats. There was no stats, and I think the reason for that was a fear of looking at these stats and look like, oh my God, I'm a failure. So instead of creating them, I just never had them. So if somebody asked me what my numbers were, I didn't really know. I didn't know how many patients I was getting. All I know is the bank account number was this. So this month I did this, but I had no idea where it came from. And that was kind of me realizing, okay, I need to change things. I went to Tony Robbins seminar and when I talk about you have to have a map to see where you are and where you're going, and I didn't have that. So coming in and working with you guys, I started actually keeping score of what's going on an everyday basis and keeping my eye on the ball. And I know what I did. I had and I think it was 2024 or 2020, 2024. I started working with you guys in October. So I was like, okay, in October 2024, I want to spend about 3 months really working on the mindset. And you guys, I mean, it's awesome talking to you and talking to Tony, getting that map together. Started working on my mission statement. Things that's, again, sounds stupid. What's the point of a mission statement? How is that going to make you successful? Like, just writing something down. But it got me laser focused on figuring out what was the point? Why was I here? Why was I doing the things that I do? Because it was no longer about me making money and trying to survive, but now it was changing the focus on the why. And at that point, it was focusing on serving, just being a servant and really fulfilling the promise that God made to me that he was going to use me to help others. So by just creating that statement and put it on my wall, it kind of changed my mindset and kind of changed the way I do things, because now it was not focused necessarily on what I'm getting out of it, but what am I giving out? And it's such a big difference. And now talking to Tony and changing the mindset and writing my numbers and keeping stats and seeing where I'm at and being able to say, okay, I did this right. This didn't pan out. Let's change and focus and doing the marketing. It made such a huge difference that back in 2025, well, no, it was actually 2024. I started working with you guys 2023. Back in 2024, at that point, I had the biggest year, which was good. And then last year, working with you guys was the biggest year yet. And then this year, my goal, which is kind of solo practice, myself and just one CA, my goal is $500,000 collection. And I'm actually the first 3 months already surpassed that as far as checking it. So, but the only thing I can attribute to that, I'm not really doing anything different as far as the adjustment, as far as the patient care, but it's the mindset. Being able to focus and having Tony there as a soundboard. And as you said it earlier, being in solo practice is lonely. Who do you talk to? but being able to talk to Tony and say, oh yeah, you're doing this right, or you're doing good. Oh yeah, just keep doing this, just change this, let's do this, let's do that. And having somebody to kind of bounce ideas from has been tremendous as far as helping me grow and making a difference in this community.
It's so amazing, man. I'm so excited that this has been your journey over these last few years as you have kind of just had this breakthrough, right? It's so much of it, like you said, up and down for 10 years, and just to see two simple things, right? When you have a guide and you have a path, right? When you have a guide and a path, it's amazing what you can accomplish, right? And that's what we try to do for every single client we have, right? Is give you a path and then be your guide, right? And it's just like you said, it's not like we're telling you things that you didn't know, right? It's like, these things you've heard. I mean, especially you've been listening to the podcast for years, right? We've been doing the podcast for 10 years. So you've been hearing us say all this stuff all these years, and I'm sure you heard it from Dr. Gertner and Dr. Packer, right? It's not like success in upper cervical practice is hidden, right? Like the things you need to do, it's not like it's like nobody knows what these things are, right? But it's the day by day by day consistency that is required. And if you don't have somebody that's coming alongside you and saying, okay, don't go that way. Remember, keep going this way, keep going that way. Stay focused. You got it. Encouragement, right? That encouragement, accountability, and just consistency to stay on the path can make all the difference.
And it has, yes.
Yeah. So you said, so you started working with us, you said 23, I think. You said 24, best year ever. 25, new best year ever. 26, now on course to be another best year ever, right? So hopefully 3 straight best year evers. And so you started out, you said you're doing like $10,000 to $15,000 in collections, right?
Yeah, and that was
per month.
Was a good month, and
that was a good month, right?
Not a good month. That was a great month.
Okay, gotcha. So 10 to 15,000 in collections a month on average on a good month.
A good month.
And now what are we doing now? What have we been doing in 2026?
When we started in 2024, the goal was to consistently get to 20,000. So it was 20,000 consistently. So we were able to do that in 2024. In 2025, Tony pushed me, and I remember setting that goal with him, and I was freaking out because it was like, wait, you want me to do what? And the goal was 33.33 a month. And it was just like, oh my God, I agreed to this, but I literally was scared. And we were able to accomplish that. We had some up and down months, but on average, we're able to accomplish that. I believe our collection last year was just under 400,000 total. And then so this year, when we talked, it's like, you know what, you pushed me last year, and I was able to do it. So let me push myself, and we came up with a number. And the number is, the goal was to collection 500,000 was the goal. And so far, for the past couple months, we've collected 41, 42, and I think last month we did 50,000.
Let's go.
So we did 50,000. Last month and that goes to mindset. Last month I was focused on vacation with the kids and vacation with the family. And I can say, even though I was doing the same thing, but my mindset was kind of shifted, and we did 30,000, which is a great month, but it was a goal month. So this month we are focused and getting back on track, and so just a tiny shift of focusing on not the wrong thing, because family is the right.
Good, yeah.
But it shifted my focus. Instead of still focusing on here, I literally was like, the kids are going on vacation, where are we going? And, and I'm sitting here planning vacation. So but it's been, I can't begin to tell you guys how much of a difference you guys have made in my life. And one of the things as a chiropractor, we're always thinking about impact. How can we impact the world? And honestly, as a solo practitioner, I can only do so much. But what you guys have created as upper cervical growth system you yourself and Tony and your team are impacting the entire world, and you have having a massive impact. Because if you can make that difference in my practice, being able to serve more people and help more people, imagine you being in solo practice and now doing what you do, helping upper cervical chiropractors. The impact that you guys are having is massive. So not only in my patient's life, but in my life and in my family life, it has been tremendous. So thank you.
Oh, that's amazing, man. And the thing is with that, right? When you were collecting 10 to 15,000 compared to collecting 50,000, the difference there, it's not just money, it's lives.
Yes.
Right? That's the impact. It's the lives that you are touching every month has dramatically increased, right? And that's what it's all about, right? And like it goes back to what you were saying with the mission, right? It's the why. Well, why are you doing this? Well, you want to bring hope and healing to sick and suffering people, right? You want to help the people of your community. And the amount of people you're helping now compared to what you were helping before is like night and day, right?
I can speak to that in a way, because one of the things that Tony and I talked about, and one of the things that he had me focus on, was focus on reviews and doing reviews and video reviews, which I didn't like, because again, you as a patient or client, you already paying me for the service. Now I'm asking you to do a review for me. It's like, and I always felt bad about that. But when I started doing that, that started motivating me, because again, on the day-to-day practice, we see them, we talk to them. But when you take a moment to allow that person to share their story and for them to reflect where they started and where they are, and having patients that already paid me, thanking me for giving their life back, I'm like, wait, but for me, I'm so humble. It's like, I didn't do anything. All I did is move the bone. God did the healing. So all testimony should go to him. But when I'm sitting here with my staff and we listening to these things, like, oh my God, I had no idea that by coming here, that was such a huge difference. It motivates me even more to be able to talk to people. So when I'm out there doing screenings now, it's not necessarily about, I need to get that new patient in because I need to get the numbers. It's like, man, if I could just get that patient in, and if I can just make a tiny shift and a tiny difference in their lives, that would make such a big difference that I'd have to get them in. So it changes tremendously, being able to see 2-3 patients a month and seeing 10, 15 a month. It makes such a big difference, because now I'm being fulfilled because I'm making a difference. And it's like, it's tremendous. So one of the things that I love now is doing video testimonials, because now I get to share in their journey and listening to what they've done. And even sometimes it's not that dramatic, but it makes a difference. And then having them watch it with me, it's like, did you know this? Like, and I had a patient say, it just came out. I just now I noticed that, wow, yeah, when I started, my God, and she started crying and I started crying. But that would have never happened. That moment would have never happened had we not sat down and asked for that testimony and have the video and kind of, so it's tremendous things that you guys are doing and teaching me how to do. Again, things I already know how to do, but now encouraging me to go and doing them. Yeah.
Well, and man, I'll tell you that is such a huge piece. And again, this is not groundbreaking information. I've been saying this for 10 years, right, on this podcast, is if you can develop a success story culture, right, where your practice consistently captures and talks about and listens to success stories, it impacts everyone, right? It impacts you, like you said, it reminds you of what you're doing and why you're doing it and the impact you're making. It reminds, like you said, the patient, right? Yeah. So many times patients forget. They forget what they were like before they came into the practice and what life is like now. But when you have them tell the story, it reminds them of that, which then leads them to tell more people and refer others. And it fires up your team, right? Your team needs to hear those stories, right? They get caught up in like the minutia of the day. They have to be reminded of the big why. Success stories, there's nothing better than, having a staff, having a team meeting and listening to a success story together and everybody being like, man, that's super cool. I can't believe what we get to do every day, right? That everybody gets to get that impact. And so huge that you're doing that now.
Completely agree, and it had made an impact in myself. And again, my assistant, she does a lot of the videos, and being able to stand there and listen to these people, because again, she get to see them in and out, in and out, in and out, but not really understanding what the changes are, and being able to hear it. Yeah, it has made a tremendous difference in our practice. So thank you for that. And if you guys are out there not doing that, again, for me, I was embarrassed to ask, but for me, it's weird because I hate the sound of my voice on video, so I would not. I didn't want to do that. It's like, you already paid me. Why am I asking you for a favor? It's like, I'm not doing it. But it's one of the biggest things that have changed our practice, as far as it motivates us. Just as soon as somebody says, "Oh my God, I haven't had a migraine just yesterday. I haven't had a migraine in 20 days. This is unheard of." Like, would you mind sharing that? Because there's people like you that's been out there suffering, and they don't know that this is something that they can come and do. Would you? And she's like, absolutely, I would love to do that. So as soon as I get an inkling, can we do a video? Can you do a testimonial? Can you share that story? And that in turns kind of remind her, 20 days, and her husband was there. Oh, okay, yeah, you haven't had a migraine in 20 days, and you just started. It's like, great. So yeah, if you're not doing that, absolutely stop doing that.
Yeah, no, and that's just a shift in your mindset, right? You had a shift in your mindset, and you realized a video testimonial. When I ask a patient for a video testimonial, I have to get over myself. I have to just ask them, and when I ask them, what their response is usually what you just shared. The patient is excited to share that story. They want to share that story, especially when you say it the way you just did, which is the way we recommend you say it, which is, hey, you know, other people out there need to hear your story, right? Because that's what it's about. It goes back to the mission, right? The mission is, we want to impact this community, and we want you as a patient to help us do that. And they want to be part of that, right? Like, that is really the thing, right? So it's so much of it is just getting out of your own way, getting out of your own head, and being like, yeah, when I asked the person, they were excited about it. It completely crushes all of your limiting beliefs when it comes to that kind of stuff, right? When you actually go through and actually ask people. So now I'm going to challenge you now, because you said it already. You went on vacation and you didn't have as good a month. And so the next step, obviously, because we're going through the growth stages, right? You started in practice growth stage 1 with us. You're in practice growth stage 2 now. And the next step is practice growth stage 3, right? Bring it on the associate doctor. So what's the plan with that?
We've been talking about that already. So that's definitely, we've been talking about that. And Tony and I have a plan, I think, by the end of this year, to get into and I don't know what you guys call it, the associate
recruitment program. Yep.
Correct. Yeah. To get that done. Again, the main thing was to be able to show that I can consistently create a system and consistently collect to be able to support that. So yeah, that's that challenge accepted, and that's on the works.
Yeah, because again, that goes back to the why, right? That goes back to the why. It goes back to the mission. It goes back to, hey, okay, you said it earlier, right? I can only see so many people. I have limited capacity. We all do. We're all people. We can only do what we can do. Yeah. And so you need another person to be able to help you to help more people in your community, which is the mission, right? And so all of that is about your mindset and about your focus and about that consistently going back to that why. And it just makes sense, right? It's the next step for you. And yeah, hopefully before the end of the year, I'm going to challenge you. Let's see if we can start that associate recruitment process even sooner than that. But yeah, man, I'm so excited for you, Doc. You just, it's such a blessing to be able to help docs like you. As you said, I have been incredibly blessed. Obviously I was injured. I wasn't able to continue in practice myself, but being able to help doctors like you all over the world to make a bigger impact in their community has been an incredible blessing to me. And I'm so glad that you were able to share your story today.
Absolutely. It's been a tremendous pleasure. Like I said, listening to you guys, and and now actually working with you guys and implementing everything that I've heard. and putting it into practice. Yeah, I can't even begin to thank you guys. Thank you so much. And if you guys are listening, again, it's one thing to listen, like I've done for so many years, but it's another thing to take the step and actually call them and start working with them, because there's so much value in it. There's so much value in it. And again, from 10 years to 3 years, it's like night and day. And I owe all that stuff to your guidance and your system that you have implemented, the coaching and the marketing and all that stuff. So thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Appreciate you so much. And as we always say around here, go team upper cervical.